Yeah, and then of course, this is where not having a run game really kills you. I mean, if Penn State had even some semblance of a run game, even with a struggling Cliff, they could have pulled out. But again, just maddening to see they can't just pick up a couple yards when they need it here and there.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I mean,
yeah, it's obvious running downs. And then the running back situation still baffling. Lovett looks good here and there. Kayvon Lee looks good. One drive he'll look really really good. Looks like he should be the number one back for sure. And the next drive doesn't do too much. Kane, I don't know what's going on with Kane, but he's not the same player we've seen in the past, or even
no.
yeah, I remember going back to the Auburn game. He was a playmaker. He was a difference maker, and I think he's just been a little shaken up since then, and just does not look anything near his previous self when he could get those tough yards. He could maneuver, and he could fall forward and gain another 3-4 yards after contact and on his way down. We're just not seeing that at all. We just don't have that toughness in the running game.
No, it's a far cry. I mean, it's a far cry from what we had maybe just a couple years ago when, Kane could get some big yards. Of course, Journey Brown, who really came to in the latter half of that season, but he became that reliable workhorse running back who you could pound it with, but also he was capable of taking one to the house, or you could also hit him on some swing passes. They just don't. I mean, you feel like maybe Lovett has that opportunity to be that guy who could maybe take one that. That's the other thing too. Penn State is not. I have to look it up, but I think their longest run was something like, I don't think it's 40 yards. It's something like in the 30s. They have not broken a huge run for a touchdown this year. I mean, something. I know we talk about how maybe how boom or bust the running game was when Saquon was there, but. Mm-hmm. At least you got some booms out of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just mostly bust, and they're not even reliable enough to keep drives alive, really. And when you got 3rd and 2, maybe they'll get the first down. I don't really have a lot of confidence most of the time in that situation, to be honest, anymore.
Unfortunately, no. It's just, it's just, I mean, I don't know what much more you can say about the game. I mean, Penn State, frankly, deserved to lose this. Illinois deserved to win. I can't,
Yeah.
Again, why I'm not mad. I mean, you play like that. You keep shooting yourself in the foot. You keep giving the Illinois opportunity after opportunity. One of these times they're going to convert. Can you be mad about that? I can't.
Yeah. Well, honestly, if Penn State would have pulled it off in overtime, would have felt a little bit of relief. Obviously, I would have felt a little bit of joy after that play, but I wouldn't feel that much difference right now.
You were damn lucky to pull it out, kind of feeling. And we've had that feeling before about Penn State or whatever other sports teams we might root for. So So I guess now just kind of maybe moving ahead. Just obviously, I don't know. As far as worst losses in the Franklin era, this has to be right up there. I mean, I think maybe before today, the worst one would have been, I don't know, maybe losing to Tim Beckman's Illinois his first year as Penn State's coach, or maybe losing to Michigan State a depleted Michigan State team in 2018.
That's the one I'm kind of coming back to. The other, I mean, there were some bad losses, but a lot of those are, the roster wasn't quite where it was. They had there were still issues that were coming off of the sanctions. They were trying to build the team back up. So there were some bad losses early, pre-2016, but this is just one of those losses where they were just head and shoulders the better team and just completely just failed in pretty much every aspect of the game. So this is probably worse than 2018 because I think this team has had much better potential than 18.
Well, I mean, no, quite. I mean, I would say this is the worst loss, hands down.
I think you can.
This was regarded as the worst team in the Big Ten. Their only win in conference play was against Nebraska. Frankly, they played again. I think Nebraska might beat them. I guess I don't want to give. I mean, Nebraska seems to find ways to shoot themselves in the foot too. So who knows? But the only other win was a clunker against Charlotte, and I know Charlotte's not a terrible. They're not. I mean, they're a good G5 team, but they're not. They have no business, hanging with.
And they beat them 38-31. It's not like they dominated. I mean, Charlotte put up 31 points against this Illinois defense. So what does that tell you? I mean, even if where Penn State is right now, a program like them, even if Clifford was completely unavailable, there's really no excuse for only scoring 10 points in overtime.
Right.